Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty. And today, I'm going for a Marvel comic book I didn't think I would be that bothered about, but I must admit, I kind of like the cover, and I was reading about the concept of the character and the fact that it's from a previous era, and it intrigued me enough to go and pay attention to it. This era being, a few years back now, and I kind of see it. It feels like a character concept that feels like it'd fit in with a bit more of a Silver Age kind of bad guy feel to it. People who don't know, it's somebody who has a bag full of Halloween masks, and when they put the mask on, it gives them the powers of the character or creature they're representing. There's a bit of fun to be had with that, don't get me wrong. I think there's only 3 instances of it in this comic book, but she's been in Amazing Spider-Man recently. Apparently her and Ben Reilly had a thing. So I thought, yeah, okay, let's check it out. Before we get too far into the story and the writing, we're going to have to talk about the artwork. And it's, I feel a little bit repetitive when I say things like this, but it does feel like it's just another example of Marvel doing in-house style kind of stuff. And I feel frustrated just saying that there's not much else to talk about than that, because Marvel has a specific thing that they want to do with their comic books. And being successful at doing that is fantastic. The person who does it is good at their job. Brilliant. Well done. But it's also not very interesting to talk about, and it's also not very interesting to look at. The thing that elevates it for me is there's some really nice compositional bits, and the colours are amazing. There's some really deep colouring going on here. Skies at night and colouring on the costumes, everything like that, fantastic. Unfortunately, it's let down a little bit by at one point we're supposed to see a werewolf for the first time, and there's a little bit too much blackness to it, and I feel like it's selling the art short a little bit there. I think I'd like to see a little bit more of what they can do with a bit more of an in-depth, detailed kind of character. What is nice, though, is all the masks look like genuine Halloween masks. Like in this country, at least pay like $4.99 for a corner shop. They look the kind of thing which would be trivial and nobody really paid attention to, which I think is really quite nice for it. On to the writing now. And yes, this is a conceptual idea which is a little bit dated. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It has a B-movie vibe to it, and I have nothing against B-movies. Even within the comic book genre, Snyder did Night of the Ghoul recently, which does have a definite B-movie feel to it, but he elevates that and makes it into a really intense, horrific story. In this, we kind of are leaning into it a little bit, but not really embracing it. It seems to be more like it's just a thing. She has these powers, and that's fine. But the fact they are B-movie kind of level ideas, I feel like that's a good thing for this character, because although, yes, these things can effectively have the ability to give her powers to put on a level with actual proper top-line Marvel superheroes and villains, this is a universe where we have an entire Spider-Verse within it of characters, and the Hulk has his own Hulk now. The idea of something a little bit more down-to-earth has always appealed to me. It's why Daredevil has always been a comic book I'll go back to, even if sometimes the ideas are quite over TT. I like the fact that he is a bit more street level. And in this, we do get a sense of that. We get a sense of somebody who has been let down by the courts, by the police, by a whole bunch of systemic issues. And as such, her criminality is the kind of low grade. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. She is a burglar rather than a thief. And she goes about it in such a way that when she does have to basically protect herself, she tries to do it in a way which is more like, I want to scare this person so he doesn't stop me doing what I want to do. And when he gets in the way, she does hurt him, but only so she can escape. It's self-defense against cops kind of thing. And I think it's worth having that kind of character in, even as a villain. So it's not just the whole, if somebody wants to exist outside the system who has a real problem with systemic issues, is seen as being over the top and ludicrously evil because they have to do terrible things to get their point across. This feels very much down to earth, and we do get some good character writing about that laid out to us. She tells us about what was going on with her and Ben Reilly, and how corporations and other such large organizations interfered with it and got in the way. And what she basically wants to do is get back to that point in her life where, even if it was complicated, even if it was a bit messy, it mattered to her and it mattered to Ben that they were together through it all. And I've got to admit, I appreciate that as like a character motivation. This isn't a grand falutin plan of bringing down the government. It's more a case of making enough money so they can set themselves up somewhere and not have to worry about the organizations which try to control them. It is not trying to tear everything down in the way that some anarchists or even some people who vote for politicians might want to do. It's still interesting that there's limits to it, and also the idealistic nature of it is it's sympathetic, and that's a good way of writing villains. They should be sympathetic. I've said recently, maybe on this channel, maybe just with my friends, that some of the most egregiously just evil villains being evil because they're evil are usually people who already have money and power. People who don't have either of those things, I find them, when their reasons for turning to the dark side, are a lot more compelling, a lot more interesting, and yeah, I'd read those kind of comics above anything else. Definitely interesting. I'm going to check out issue 2 and see what happens. I'm hoping it's going to let the character breathe a little bit more, but at least it's going to be an interesting ride on the way. That's it for me for now, though, so until I see you again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!